Hey guys, it's Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, back again with Good Omens. Last time on Good Omens, we started off the series with In the Beginning. Dad, what happened last time?
Well, the end of the world, the end times, were to be brought about by the birth of the Antichrist, and just to sum the whole thing up, they lost the child.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. And now they gotta figure out what to do now that they've lost it. Yeah, that's pretty much that. It was definitely interesting and definitely funny.
Oh, we've misplaced the Antichrist.
Alright. Well, that's as good a recap as any. So, yeah, with that being said, I guess this is where we say no spoilers in the comments for the remainder of the season. There's not too many episodes left already, but yeah, might as well. No spoilers for people who are watching this along with our reactions. Don't spoil them on anything. And yeah, with that being said, we might as well get right into episode 2. Here we go. Oh, I bet they're concerned now.
I would like to purchase one of your material objects.
Books.
Let us discuss my purchase in a private place, because I am buying
Pornography?
pornography.
Gabriel, come into my back room.
We humans are extremely easily embarrassed. We must buy our pornography secretively.
Sodom and Gomorrah. You were doing a lot of smiting and turning people into salt. Hard to forget.
Something smells evil.
Oh, that'll be the Jeffrey Archer books, I'm afraid.
Well, we just wanted to stop by and check on the status of the Antichrist. The Hellhound has been set loose, and now the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are being summoned. Death, pollution, famine, war.
You can't have a war without war.
Sandalfund, that is very good. You can't have a war without war? I might use that. Huh? Anyway.
Interesting he used pollution
problems.
instead
How
of
was the hell
pestilence.
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's just the modern world now.
Thank you for my pornography.
We are the fallen. Never forget that.
Well, it's not the sort of thing you forget.
I trust you, Crowley.
Everything's going just fine. I didn't mean to fool. I just hung around the wrong people.
Finally. Put it down. Oh, you sweet thing.
It's a gladius.
That's not gonna happen, is it?
And now 60 centuries of waiting are about to end.
We did. Regulation issue witchfinder's pin. Pricked her all over.
And what was the result?
She said it cured her arthritis.
But what else has she used?
Predicting the future, mostly.
She runs, I have heard tell, with no one pursuing her.
Aye. She says running each morning in an unladylike manner around the village does improve her health.
Monstrous.
She jogs.
Perhaps invisible demons.
It's considered witchcraft
No.
to run for no
She
reason.
said it's good for you.
By the way, her name, Agnes Nutter. Nutter is a British slang for somebody who's crazy.
Repulsive, with such as they do not understand.
Olga.
In which she had concealed 50 pounds of gunpowder and 30 pounds of roofing nails.
Olga.
Agnes also left behind a box and a book.
Prophecy 2214. In December 1980, an apple will arise no man can eat. Invest thy money in Master Job's machine, and good fortune will tend thy days.
I mean, this is balderdash.
You're the one that's going to have to save the world.
Her name is Anathema. That's just brilliant.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Athenema device?
Anathema device. It's an old family name.
Purpose of your visit to the United Kingdom?
Oh, I'm commanded by an ancient family prophecy. I'm going to use all the wisdom and witchcraft at my disposal to hunt down the heart of darkness and do all that I can to destroy it before it brings about the end of the world.
I'm sorry?
Vacation.
Music? What's a velvet undergrad?
You wouldn't like it.
No, bebop.
All that stands between Wensleydale and chartered accountancy is time.
There are 39 different flavors of
That's a
ice cream.
reference to Monty
There are
Python.
39 flavors of ice cream in the whole world. You can't say yes. You've got to say no. Then what? Then we torture you until you say yes. But you're gonna torture him? We built a torturing machine.
It looks like a swing.
Oh, it's paint.
Hey, you've both been hit. I know what you think you're playing at.
Well, that was fun.
What the hell did you just do? Oh. They wanted real guns, so I gave them what they wanted.
Oh, I said you couldn't trust those people from purchasing. Bastards.
Of course, no. Yeah, excuse me, ma'am. We're two supernatural entities just looking for the notorious son of Satan. Wonder if you might help us with our inquiries.
You'd think he'd show up, wouldn't you? You'd think we could detect him in some way.
He won't show up. Not out of the question. There's nowhere to put the bike.
Except for the bike rack. So we tell our respective operatives to look for the boy. Unless you have a better idea. Ducks. What about ducks?
There what water slides off.
Just drive the car, please. You all right?
Perfectly, yes. Tip-top. Absolutely tickety-boo.
Tickety-boo?
Right, there you go.
3008. When that the angel readeth these words of mine in his shop of other men's books.
3008. That's a little weird.
Is that prophecy 3008 or the year 3000?
Oh, okay. Then yeah.
Catfield 046666, Arthur Young here.
Dad, look! I got Dog to walk on his hind legs.
Sorry, right number.
Huh. So it's specifically like calling the phone number was 666,
Yes.
not okay. That's interesting.
It was a variation because he picked it up and he said what the number was.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a variation of 666
with the area code on top of it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. That was interesting.
Right, not as funny as the first episode, but this is, I mean, it's kind of like with what I always think of as, Attack of the Clones and The Empire Strikes Back. The second installment has to set up so much more of the conflict that's coming later on, so it's not quite as funny. But, again, it does a good deal of setting in the new characters, War, the Witchfinder, Pulsifer, and the girl Anathema.
Yeah.
And again... anathema is a very medieval term meaning against everything. When the Pope excommunicates someone, they are called anathema and not fit to live. So it's just, I mean, again, the level of scholarship in this writing is just incredible.
was an interesting take on Empire Strikes Back you had there. But that's not the point.
No. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. So, the first thing I wrote down was the divine plan that they talked about at the beginning with I guess Gabriel going to the bookstore and trying to blend in as humans, which was hilarious. Yeah, it's like this is all going according to the divine plan. He's got the Hound. Everything's gonna happen. It's all gonna Armageddon's gonna happen. We're good. And it's like. But why is that the divine plan? Why is it not to prevent?
Because in the book of Revelation, the whole idea is this is the final confrontation between good and evil, and of course, good will win. So heaven's looking forward to it because this will be the chance where they will finally get rid of evil. They'll destroy evil. Satan and the angels will be destroyed, and everybody will live happily ever after listening to The Sound of Music.
Right. Whereas,
can't remember his name.
I can never.
Oh, is that Mom?
No, I think the doors just shake. Oh, okay. All right. Aziraphale.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to memorize that. Whereas Aziraphale and Crowley, they just want to keep the Earth the way it is.
Yes.
So that's the thing, is that Armageddon all happens, we destroy evil once and for all, which would include Crowley, and then we're all going to chill out in heaven and stuff like that. And it's like, but these two want to keep the Earth the way it is. Exactly. Not necessarily that they want to keep the war going between good and evil, but that they want to keep basically the middle ground.
Yes. They have come to enjoy their time on Earth and don't wish to see either the extreme of bad winning or the extreme of good winning.
Right. They just want the Earth to remain intact.
Yes.
So that's interesting. Bringing up the divine plan of like, it's all supposed to go, the right way, and it's like that still includes Armageddon. It's like, I guess everyone's gonna. All the good people are going to go to heaven in the end, but it's like, everyone has to die then. It's like that kind of sucks.
Notice there at the end when he was talking about the different books that he had owned, and he had always been looking for this, he said, I even have the scroll of St. John the Divine of Patmos. That's the St. John who wrote the book of Revelation,
right,
which sets up Armageddon.
Right. We got some talk about the Four Horsemen, but we really only got war in this one.
Yeah.
Who just everywhere she goes, war just happens, even over the dumbest thing. Like I like that it's not just that they just start fighting and stuff like that. It's her bringing in chaos and war. There's still a reason that it had to happen. Like in their minds, it's like, well, we need to figure out. We have to fight each other over who's gonna sign it first, and it's like that's silly and stupid. But it's like there is always. I like that there is always still a reason for it. It's not just war to be war.
Yeah.
So
now, these are some obscure theatrical sorts of things, but for example, in Hollywood, when you get two stars who are going to be in a movie, and I remember this very distinctly from this would have been late 60s or early 70s, Steve McQueen and Paul Newman, who were the biggest stars of the late 60s. They did a movie together called The Towering Inferno. And the problem was, whose name do you list first? If you put Paul Newman first, that's going to be a slight to Steve McQueen. If you put Steve McQueen first, it's going to be a slight to Paul Newman. So what they did was, they put Paul Newman's name higher, but on the right, and Steve McQueen's name lower and on the left. Because on the left is the side you would read first, meaning Steve McQueen was number one, but his name was lower than Paul Newman's, meaning that he was lower than...
Yeah.
And so, and they did that when the 2.5 Men switched over from Charlie Sheen to Ashton Kutcher. They put John Cryer and Ashton Kutcher's name on there like that because there has to be something. Everybody has to have... And so whoever signs first gets to be the person who says, well, I'm the one who created the piece. And they went, no, then I have to sign first. Well, I'm the woman, I should sign first. No, and then they all get killed.
Right. Well, and you could almost say that's the same thing that happens on this series, because I noticed when the credits start, it says starring Michael Sheen, and then there's like a split second, and David Tennant. So it is sort of the same thing even here with their credits.
But you'll notice that both of their names appear for about 3-4 seconds, and then Michael Sheen disappears and David Tennant's name stays.
That's true.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And notice right here, cast in order of appearance.
Yeah.
John Hamm. He's considered a bigger star than Michael Sheen and David Tennant. And now I realize it says in order of appearance, but he's also the biggest name that they had, other than Michael McKean, who is a comedic actor. Got his start way back in the 70s on Laverne and Shirley of all things. But he has since done a lot of stuff. He was in what's the takeoff on the rock band. It'll come to me. Anyway, but yeah, he does a lot of that stuff now, and he is now much more famous as a serious actor.
All right,
and he's Sergeant Shadwell, the Witchfinder.
Now, don't they also, like in the original Star Wars movies, they put all three of their names at the exact same time?
Yeah. Sorry, this is Spinal Tap. I knew it would come to me. That's the name. If you've never
Ducks.
seen it,
there you go.
Ducks. That's what water rolls off of. Ducks.
So yeah, that was just interesting that there is still a reason for why they had to kill each other. And it's interesting that she got the sword. It just seems to be a sword, just her sword, and it seems to be like a Roman gladius, which is interesting. It's like, okay, why that particular style of sword? Why do you need a sword? You could have chosen any weapon, but it's a sword. So it's not on fire, so it's not that.
But the Book of Revelation was written during the early stages of the Roman Empire.
That's true.
So the sword of war coming from the Roman Empire again.
Yeah,
that strikes me as it has to be intentional.
Yeah,
that would be way too much of a coincidence for them just to have.
Because you could have gone with any type of sword, and you went with a Roman gladius. But we didn't get any of the other three horsemen in this.
Not yet.
And I suspect that we're going to get all four of them, and then they're going to find Adam, and then sort of that's how he'll start to understand that he is. Or the four of them come together, try to find him, and then we have to have this back and forth between the four horsemen trying to find him, and Aziraphale and Crowley also trying to find him, and then Anathema trying to find him too. It's just this big back and forth trying to find this one child.
And Pulsifer and Shadwell have to find him if they can.
That's true, because we added that too. This random witch hunters that are trying to find him. They're trying to find Anathema, and that was interesting because we went into this whole thing of like, okay, here was the last witch, and she had these prophecies, and that's how we're leading up to Anathema, who's going to be going after the Antichrist now. But we also kept going with Pulsifer and his line all the way to this guy who just breaks any building he goes into, apparently. Like, anytime he gets on a computer, apparently he's just horrible at it. And now he's being recruited to find witches. It's just like that. Like, we didn't need to keep going with the Pulsifer line and get to where he is now, but we did. And so now that just adds another little conflict that we have going on. So we have Pulsifer and the Witchfinder who's trying to find the Antichrist, who's also being found by Aziraphale and Crowley, trying to find them. So there's going to be conflict. And there's also the four horsemen that are trying to find the Antichrist, so we're going to have to deal with that too.
As Shrek says, it's like an onion.
Yeah.
You got layers.
Yeah.
Of course, the donkey says, it's a parfait.
Yeah.
No, it's an onion.
We did get a little bit more of... We sort of got a little bit more of Crowley's, I guess, sort of backstory when he mentions, like, everyone that fell and became demons and stuff like that. And he said, well, I didn't want to fall. I just hung out with the wrong people. And so that kind of gives him a bit more... It makes sense why he really wants to prevent this. More than just, he likes being on Earth. He wants to keep the Earth intact. And he wants to, live, because if Armageddon comes and the good does win, then most likely Crowley will be destroyed as well. So, but we also get that may be part of it. Aziraphale trying to say like, oh well, deep down you're a nice guy, and Crowley trying to deny it, but it is kind of, there is a bit more to him than just being a demon.
He got rid of the blue stain.
That's true. Yeah. Let's see. It was an interesting backstory with Nutter, and just accepting that she was going to be burned. Like, well, I'm ready. You're 10 minutes late. All right, let's just go. And yeah, when she was walking, it's like there's clearly something under there that she's hiding. And I'm just like, what is she hiding? And it didn't go. And then she just hid all of that gunpowder and nails and stuff like that to just blow up. It's like that's very interesting.
Again, I may be reading way too much into this. Is that a subtle reference to Guy Fawkes and the gunpowder plot to blow up Parliament, which happened roughly at that same time period?
Maybe.
And there was another reference too that I was. When he said I didn't want to fall. Again, I don't know that the average person knows the story, because it's not in the Bible. It's in other Hebrew writings. And a British author, John Milton, if I recall correctly, has a novel that was published in the 1600s called Paradise Lost, where it's the story of the demons revolting against God, and Lucifer is cast out because he says, I would rather rule in hell than to serve in heaven. And that's really kind of what mankind is all about. You're going to impose this, Sound of Music on us for eternity. Given the choice of, being in the world where we are now or having that, quite honestly, I'd much rather stay where we are now, which is what Crowley and Aziraphale are trying to do. So, I mean,
right.
Again, I may be hallucinating all of this stuff, but it strikes me that cannot be a coincidence. That Neil Gaiman is obviously a writer who is well versed in history and religion and mythology and everything else. And again, there are just so many layers to this that it's just astounding.
Right. Let's see, what else did we have? We had the new British Inquisition, which was just interesting. Just the fact that it's like, okay, it amounted to them, playing about and stuff like that. But for a while, when they were talking about it, I was like, are they really going to go burn people? And I was like, no.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. That's, again, a reference back to Monty Python.
Yeah.
And to me, personally, the thing about being swung around in the circle on the tire swing as being torture, I can't stand to go around in circles. Whenever we go to one of these theme parks when you guys were younger, I never got on those rides because I hate them. They make me sick to my stomach. So that would be torture for me.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. We got a mention of the operatives, Aziraphale, and if you notice, I'm always looking over when I have to say his name because I'm like, what is it again? Aziraphale? All right, Aziraphale. But Aziraphale and Crowley's operatives, human operatives, to try to find Adam, which is interesting that they sort of just mention that. I guess that does add another layer to this big game of hide and seek, basically trying to find Adam. It's interesting. Aziraphale didn't contact any of his operatives, but because instead he was distracted by the book. But I thought that was interesting. It's like, because they seem to be somewhat hidden, although, obviously Aziraphale runs a bookstore and stuff like that, so they're not fully hidden, but it's like, just the fact that anyone knows who they really are, is just interesting. So yeah, just interesting that they do have this network of operatives to try to find. I don't know how they're going to do any better about finding Adam, but
yeah. And again, the paintball sequence there, ending up with the real police coming in because it was real gunfire.
Right.
That is, to me, again, is just faintly reminiscent of the end of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where
Yeah.
when one of the knights goes through and slashes the old professor, then at the end of the film, the whole film comes to an end when the police come in to arrest everybody and haul them away.
Right.
Now, whether that's intentional or not, I don't know, but if it is, that's just brilliant.
Yeah, I could see that. I guess other than that, I mean, the last thing was basically finding. They now pretty much have found Adam through the use of the telephone number, punching in the area code and then 666, which is interesting. I thought, okay, maybe you could find they just happen to live at that address, 666 British Lane. I don't know. But they go specifically for the phone number, which I thought was interesting. And it means now we can go on and find Adam. So, yeah. That was pretty much that. Yeah, that's pretty much I got. You got anything else?
No. Now, I know that there were probably a lot of people who didn't like the movie Ready Player One. But to me, although Ready Player One is not as brilliant as this, Ready Player One had so many layers, again, of so many, like you used to say, callbacks to various games and things,
right.
Pop culture stuff. This is very similar to that. And although I'm not a gamer, I enjoyed Ready Player One, and I'm really enjoying this, and I can't wait to see the next 4 episodes.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Then that's all for this episode. With all that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of our Good Omens reactions, you can click on the playlist. You can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.